You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mission Log Engage here on the Roddenberry Entertainment Channel here on YouTube. I'm Norman.
And I'm John. And by now, you all know the score. Hopefully, you send us emails, comments, or we pluck something out of the Star Trek fan zeitgeist, and then we get to talk about it. We just get to have a casual, unfiltered chat about it. And today, we have an email from Pete. And, oh, look, it's addressed to all of us, to all of Mission Log. So, Norman, what does Pete have to say?
Well, Pete says, hello, John, Norm, Rod, and all at Mission Log. I hope you are keeping safe and well. Firstly, let me congratulate you on reaching the midway point of Voyager Season 1. Listening to the weekly podcast has prompted me to go back and watch them again. Myself, Voyager isn't as bad as I remember, so thank you for that. Now to my main point. The future of Star Trek on TV and my personal concerns/issues. I think new Star Trek, Discovery and Picard, really aren't very good shows. They are, to me at least, poorly constructed and badly written by folks that don't really understand Trek and the message it initially conveyed. I have watched Discovery up to season 4, and then it was taken from Netflix, and I've been unable to watch the current season. Having read multiple reviews of the show, I'm not sure I actually want to either. Once Discovery went 900 years into the future, I had high hopes for it, but season 3 was disappointing to me, with only season 2 catching my attention and imagination. This being due to Pike, more on him later, more on the show itself for the story that they were telling. I really want to love the show as much as I do TOS, TNG, DS9, etc., but I find it so hard to watch at times. And 3 seasons in, this may change in season 4, I still do not know the bridge crew and their roles. By the end of the pilot for all their Trek shows, I knew who was and who and what they did. The fact that at the end of season 4, I still do not know who they are or what they do, to me is a massive failure in my opinion. Moving on to Picard, season 1 was a little slow to start, but it built nicely and I enjoyed it overall. The farewell to Data, the far more satisfactory than it was in Nemesis. Season 2, by comparison, feels like a complete mess, with too many storylines all vying for attention and none getting the time to breathe. I love Sir Patrick and Jean-Luc. He was my captain of the Enterprise and his crew was my crew, but this show suffers from SPS age. Nothing he can do there, I know. And what appears to be a desire to be all flash and balls with very little substance to the show itself. The news of the TNG cast returning does very little to bring me back to the fold. Oh, and what's with all these Sungs who all look the same? Getting beyond a joke now. I watch these shows looking for morals, meanings, and messages, as I do now with all Trek shows, so thank you for that. And I'll be damned if I can find anything. Both shows are entertaining in their own way, but I can never imagine myself going back and rewatching like I have TNG, TOS, and DS9 previously. The only show in the Star Trek universe that I truly enjoy is Lower Decks. Looking forward, or is it backwards, Strange New Worlds looks very promising and more like the Trek I enjoyed in the past. Anson was so good as Pike in Discovery, yet it appears I am not going to be able to view unless I subscribed to yet another streaming service. With there being so much good stuff on Netflix, Amazon, and Disney, plus, I have to ask myself, is it worth it in these ever more expensive times for just one show? And right now, I don't think it is. I'm sad that the decision to put Trek on one channel means I and other fans will not see this in any future shows. Star Trek has been a part of my life since I was in single figures, 48 now, and I'd hate to lose it for good, but it appears to be the case. At least I have my TOS and TNG Blu-ray to watch whenever I need, and the other shows are on Sci-Fi, etc. on repeat. Thank you for taking the time to read my rant. I'm very interested in your valued opinions, and as there are times in Mission Log Live, I think I hear a little disappointment and despair in your voices too. Live long and prosper, Pete. Slightly disillusioned Star Trek fan.
Man, all right, Pete, that is a lot to chew on. Thank you for reading that, Norman.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, look, I know where I'm going to start, and that is, Pete, please forgive me. I don't mean to sound salty or combative or antagonistic here. But the thing with the streaming network, look, publishers sell their product, and I personally can't remember the last time I watched something on Netflix. That is a less important streaming service to me now than others, so I probably am not going to have it very long. So putting my money toward like Disney, where there are more shows that I'm going to watch, even if that's maybe for, say, a few months and I switch back to another one. This is just how we choose to pay for the things that we want. If I walk into a retailer that, well, that still has DVDs or Blu-rays or something, I'm choosing which product to buy there and will go on my shelf. So, that's just sort of the marketplace. That's where we are,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry that it's not as convenient for you, that it's in a place that you were already paying for, but we all make decisions every single day about the things that get our dollars or not.
Yeah.
Totally up to you. Totally up to you.
Right.
Now, the other stuff in here, this actually parallels our previous email, which is that there's a disconnect for this fan with the Star Trek that is out there now. And some of it is speaking to you, and some of it is definitely not. And you're finding some moments in there that you appreciate and others that you don't. I totally get that. Totally simple. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to watch something that they're not keyed into, that they're not getting some enjoyment out
Mhm.
of. And thank goodness you still have the copies of the things that do bring you pleasure. But I will say this, people who are writing Star Trek have worked very long and hard to get to that position, and they are taking these things very seriously. Now, as far as specific creative decisions or format decisions, those can definitely be jarring. I don't think any of these new shows are totally bereft of Star Trek morals, meanings, messages, but it's a very different path to get there. And I'm not going to totally speak for you here, Norman, but like there was a similar thing for us going through DS9 and saying, here are these long story arcs with sometimes things that seem directly in opposition to what we think of as Star Trek values, Star Trek morals, meanings, messages,
Mhm.
just right there blatantly being fed to you, the audience. And you kind of accept that and go, okay, well, look, they're just going a different direction here. But at the end of the day, at the end of the series, what are the morals, meanings, messages that we're getting out of this? And are they treating that with some care? And is there some value to those things? And I think, yeah, there are different paths to get to these different places. Stylistically, again, if it's just a turnoff for you, well, that I guess you got to watch something else.
Mhm. You know, there's an interesting dynamic and think that's happening just like in not only in the content that's being created, but in the social media space where everyone is sharing their enthusiasm or lack thereof of
Mm,
this franchise. And I do think that there is the overall conversation that people don't want to miss out on. The fear of missing out of the global conversation, I think, is something that is just as important to discuss about why people are forcing themselves to be part of or watch the franchise that is not bringing them any value or any entertainment.
mm,
I hope you're listening to this, Pete. But why bother watching it at all if you don't really get anything out of it? What's it doing for you? If you don't want to miss out on the global conversation, then that's where everyone's talking about this new material for better or worse. That's part of the process of being part of the global conversation. But there are times where like you just want to you want to enjoy what you want to enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with
mm.
that.
Yeah,
So watch the
yeah.
TV, watch your original series, Blu-rays and DVDs, and if that brings you joy and entertainment and value during the course of the day, and you know that watching further into these series that are only giving you angst, why do it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I
I don't want to dissuade anyone from watching Star Trek. I don't want to dissuade anyone from watching anything. And if that comes through sometimes in Mission Log Live or in our podcasts, we're only human. But
yeah.
here's the honest truth that I can give everyone out there. If you don't like what you're watching, don't watch it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're gonna watch it, then you have to accept the fact that you're going to be part of the global conversation. And if you don't want that, then don't be a part of it. Make yourself happy. Right?
There's I got to share a little behind the scenes thing here, which is that when we do Mission Log Live, that is very specifically about current Trek in the moment that week and hearing from other people,
Right.
listening to our callers about what they think. Leading up to that, Norman and I'm sure that many other of our friends and fellow Star Trek fans, like we're texting each other, we're talking about stuff. We are letting our frustrations run high, or the things that really excite us and inspire us, like those become part of our conversation. But I think it's a good check for us, and I encourage other fans to do this as well. It's a good check for us then to just listen to what other people are saying about this, that they like, that they care for. And to
Right.
me, very honestly, many times doing the live show, there might be something that I come to it where like, oh wow, this really frustrated me. I can't wait to vent about this one thing. But then somebody calls in and they say, hey, here's what I loved. And it may not completely change my perspective on it, but at least tempers it a little bit where I can go, oh, wow, somebody else got something out of this. Somebody
Yeah.
else was able to appreciate a message or a moment or something out of that. And that's honestly one of the best things about having a conversation with other fans, finding out what drives you, not just being on, the bully pulpit and shouting to the world about your grievances and frustrations. I don't want to do that with anything,
Right.
especially Star Trek.
Yeah, I think that it keys you into a certain way of thinking where if you're expecting something to be a certain way, and that's how you're approaching it as you are watching it, it's going to influence the way that you enjoy things.
Mhm.
So if you want to, and as an exercise, if you want to go into it and say, you know what, I really want to have a positive outcome from this experience, I think you can. I really do think you
Mhm.
can if you're looking for the things in your entertainment, Star Trek notwithstanding, that give you like the most the most value for your day. So
Mm.
don't look at it for things that you want to pick apart or find a reason why that this new iteration of Star Trek isn't working for you. Maybe just turn it around and say, let me find a reason that works for me and see if it does actually influence me or bring value and joy or happiness into my day.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't,
Yeah.
after that, after
Yeah.
that kind of an exercise, then it doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
right?
All that said, Pete, and anybody like be critical, be thoughtful consumers.
Mhm.
But like it doesn't do anybody any good to spend that amount of time on the things that aren't driving you.
Right.
Hey, if you would like to be like Pete and send us a message or a comment, something that we can chew on, Norman, where can they do that?
Well, you can always come here at Mission Log Channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us at youtube.com/roddenberryprod. And you can also find all of the different types of lists that we have here for your entertainment. Send us your comments always at missionlog@roddenberry.com. Find us on Facebook and on Twitter at missionlogprod. And remember, just like Pete's fantastic email, we may engage with your comments on the air.